Building a Sustainable Tiny House, ISTE Lesson Plan, ITEC 7430 by Melinda Chaney. I'm an elementary gifted education teacher. Our curriculum standards are divided into two parts: critical thinking and effective growth. The objectives and standards for this project are students will think creatively to generate innovative ideas and products. Students will evaluate and solve authentic problems. Students will work toward a common goal with shared accountability. And students will use digital design tools to solve authentic problems. Students will contribute to the team project and work toward a common goal. This PBIL was designed for students in 4th and 5th grade. It is a mini unit that is part of our Model UN unit with a focus on sustainable development goals. The assignment is for students to design and build a model of a tiny house for the needs of a specific client with a focus on sustainable materials. They will work in collaborative groups, form a home building company, create a company name, logo, and mission statement. We introduced the idea of logos by playing a logo matching game in Blue-Kit. My kids love to play Blue-Kit. It's an interactive quiz game in which the students answer questions about a specific topic. You can choose from a set or create your own. They love to play this game. I was looking for something about logos, and so I saw that there were several games that had to do with logos. I didn't want it to last forever. You can see there's some that have like hundreds of questions. So I chose one with just 27 questions. After you choose the game, the students will see some questions. They're multiple choice questions. So you can see right here, it's asking you what logo is this, and they have a choice to make. There's also a competition. There's various levels of competition in which the faster that they answer the questions, the more points that they get. So my students are very competitive, so they really love this game, and it was a great way to kind of introduce the idea of logos. For the entire lesson, we introduced the project with a Nearpod. Nearpod enabled the students to refer back, especially if you set it as student-paced. The students are able then to kind of go back to this again and again and review all of the components of the lesson. This is something that I could see. This is part of the Nearpod that I could see in my teacher view. I could see that they have access to all of the slides that I've created for them so that they would know exactly what they were supposed to do. So this was their mission. They were going to collaborate with team members to design a tiny home for a specific client. They had to document the progress with an online journal. They could use a Padlet, they could do OneNote, they could do a PowerPoint, a video. They had their own choice, but they had to have documentation. Then they're going to build a model of a tiny home. And I had originally planned for them to do this out of paper, but as they always do, they came up with some other ideas and presented reasons why they should do those. So they did. Some of them wanted to create it out of Lego, some Minecraft. I even had some students that have a 3D printer at home, so they chose to build some things with that. The final presentation was in our Home Builders Showcase, in which they presented their models and their documentation of the journey that they created. And all of their homes had to include sustainable materials. Again, this is all about collaboration and teamwork. They had to create a team name, mission statement that reflects their beliefs about helping others and sustainable living. They had a logo for their home building business. They had to assign roles. The project manager oversaw the project. The architect really was the one with the blueprint design. The recorder kept the notebook, and then the IT specialist, which we all need to help us with our technology tools. So they went to design a logo in Adobe Express. Adobe is the district app that we have, so all of the students had access to it. And you can see that once they accessed Adobe, come over here to create a graphic. They were able to choose on that, click on that. Then they had a template, there was a logo, and then they could create their own logo. There was several tools they could use. They could change the background, they could have animation. They got really creative with this. One of my teams even created a merchandise line for their company, so that was kind of fun. Again, in their documentation, they could use PowerPoint, they could use OneNote. Some of them made a video journal. They just had to be able to show the progress. And it also allowed the teacher, when they shared it with me, I could provide feedback with them on my own time. Some of the teams use Padlet, so where they might have different designs here, different walls about the logo design, their clients, their home design. They could continuously record their progress. All right, the client cards. There were 6 different choices. They were randomly assigned to teams, and they all had different needs. For example, client 1's a retired couple. They need a ramp for a scooter. Client 5 is affordable housing, some disaster relief, so it would be temporary housing, what those people would need. So they had to really look at the needs of the client and try to design a home that would be within what the client needs, but still use sustainable materials and sustainable living. Here's the template, some of those paper templates that they used. And again, they could have, if they wanted to design strictly on the template and cut it out and make it 3D, that was fine too. All right, and then finally we came to our home builder showcase, which was a lot of fun. We set it all up like a home builder showcase, and they had their models, they had their their journals of the documentation progress. They presented it to the teams. It was a lot of fun. And here's our final, it was our rubric, our scoring rubric, and how they did. You can see there's area for collaboration, creativity, if they completed the task, the technology used in their presentation. Next time I do this, I would, if I had more time, I would incorporate some experts, bring in some real architects, bring in actual blueprints, allow them to maybe access a little bit more about sustainable living and explore a little bit more in depth. But that was our project. Thank you.